This time of the year is always incredibly exciting here at Subaru because it's whenever we are changing over to the new model year. This is our very first 2026 Subaru Crosstrek, and I'm excited to share with you the new details and updates for this model year because although it looks very similar, it's identical on the outside in design architecture to the 24 and 25, there are quite a few changes for this new model year. We're gonna walk around the car today and go over all the things you need to know. Orders for the 2026 Subaru Crosstrek are open now, and we have our first ones arriving at Subaru retailers. So if you are interested in purchasing one or finding out more details, my name is Alex. You can reach out to me here at Bachman Subaru in Louisville, Kentucky, or if you don't live here local, reach out to your local Subaru retailer and they can give you all of the up-to-date information on the 2026 Subaru Crosstrek. We can't talk about the updates on the 2026 Crosstrek without talking about what has changed under the hood. So this is the 2.5 liter boxer, naturally aspirated, non-hybrid motor. And as we know, we are going to have now for the Sport and the Limited trim an optional hybrid motor. Historically, the Crosstrek used to only come available in a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. To give you a reference, the 2-liter had about 152 horsepower, 145 pound-feet of torque. A lot of people noted that it was laggy and not very quick to accelerate. Subaru addressed this years ago with a 2.5-liter optional on certain trim lines. Now, that 2.5 liter that has 180 horsepower, 178 pound-feet of torque is going to be standard across the trim line. So no matter if you go with the base or the highest trim, you're going to have that 2.5 liter. They have discontinued the 2 liter. I know a lot of people are going to be happy to hear about that. And then of course, with the introduction of the hybrid, with that you get a combined 194 horsepower, and it's also a non-plug-in hybrid. So in the previous generation Crosstrek hybrid years ago, you had to rely on plug-in for charging to take advantage of the hybrid system. In this case, it is a non-plug-in hybrid, meaning you don't have to plug it in to charge. The battery will rejuvenate itself based on driving, applying brake pressure through regenerative braking and things like that. Not only do we get the 2.5 liter standard on the base trim now, but we also have some other great additions standard on the base 2026 Crosstrek. One is going to be push button start with keyless entry, meaning you no longer have to get your key fob out to start your car, and you no longer have to use the lock and the unlock button on the key fob. Instead, whenever you get out of your car, you can simply tap the door handle to lock it or reach on the door handle to unlock it, as long as you have your key fobs in your pocket. Of course, we're going to get the standard symmetrical all-wheel drive that Subaru is known for, but now standard on the base trim, we're going to have the dual function X mode. So that gives you some additional all-wheel drive settings that you can use in deep snow or all-terrain settings when you might lose traction. If you're not familiar with what Subaru's X mode is or how it works, click on the YouTube card above to the right where I show you in practice an example of me using my Subaru's X mode and when you would want to use it. And lastly, standard on the base trim is going to be the 8-speed manual mode on your steering wheel. So you're going to have the paddle shifters here that allow you to shift up or down using that CVT transmission. This would be helpful if you are in situations where maybe you lose traction in the snow, or if you are on a steep incline or decline, you can use that to effectively change the gear that you are in, change your throttle response as you're going up or down a hill. The next one I'm gonna show you is something that I know a lot of my Subaru fans have been waiting for on the Subaru Crosstrek, because the Outbacks, the Ascent, the Forester, those Subaru SUVs have had this feature for quite a few years now, and that is going to be the optional heated steering wheel. So now you have a heated steering wheel that's going to be standard on the Limited trim, like you see here, the Limited hybrid, and the Wilderness trim. So among the higher trim levels, Subaru is going to have the heated steering wheel available. Let me show you all something you may not have seen on a Subaru before. This has actually been around for years, and it's gonna carry into the next thing I'm gonna show you that's new for 2026. So for years, there's this little metal hook here that hooks into place. That way, when your door is shut, if there's a rear end collision or side impact, that's gonna add some structural integrity to hopefully keep your rear passengers safe on collision. But what's new for 2026, this is going to be standard across the entire 26 Crosstrek trim levels, is rear seat side airbags. again, providing further protection for your rear passengers. Another Subaru safety system that is now standard across all trim levels for the 2026 Subaru Crosstrek is called Emergency Stop Assist. This is something that will slow and stop your Subaru in the event that the driver is not engaging. So think situations where maybe you fall asleep at the wheel while driving or become non-responsive from a medical emergency. This is something that can be incredibly valuable. Standard on the Limited and the Limited Hybrid trim only is going to be something called driver focus distraction mitigation. It's hard to see here, but there is something in there that will scan the driver's face, and it does a couple things. One is it detects drowsy or distracted driving. So if you're falling asleep at the wheel or you are looking away, it will beep on the dash, tell you to pay attention and redirect your focus ahead. Now, since it scans your face, some people might be led to believe that this car also has memory seats, because in our Outbacks and our Subaru Foresters that have that driver focus, you can scan your face and it'll align your memory seats over here. But in this case, the Crosstrek does not have memory seats and therefore does not link up with driver focus. So that is a distinction to be made between this driver focus system and some of them you may see on some of our other Subaru models that have the memory seats. Subarus for years have had something called blind spot detection, and that is, I'll show you, a system that when turned on, so we have our blind spot detection, we'll turn it on, you will see the lights on the inside of the mirror caps, left or right, if you have somebody in your blind spot in the lane next to you. So that is something that can be incredibly valuable to have to help avoid a collision. Now, new for 2026, as long as your Crosstrek has the blind spot detection, it will have something called Emergency Lane Keep Assist. Now, what is the difference? The Emergency Lane Keep Assist will help prevent lane change collisions from happening by nudging you back into your lane whenever somebody is present and you're trying to merge while somebody is back there. In front of me, we have the lithium red pearl. And speaking of colors, for 2026, the Crosstrek is getting new color offerings and the discontinuation of a few colors. So let's talk about it. In 2026, we are now going to have a sand dune pearl. It's like a pearl khaki color, and the Citron yellow pearl. These are both colors that are going to be exclusive to the hybrid trim levels only. And for those who like the Alpine Green has previously only been available on the mid or upper trim levels, like the Sport, the Limited, and the Wilderness. But now for 2026, if you like that Alpine Green on the Crosstrek, you can get it on the base or the premium trim without having to move up in trim line. Sadly though, we are going to be losing the offshore blue. That is sort of like a blue-gray color that has been very popular, sort of resembled the cool gray khaki that was on Crosstreks years ago. So that one is leaving. The Daybreak Blue Metallic that was only offered, I believe, for 1 year is also being discontinued. And lastly, the Sunblaze Pearl. Not a lot of people in my experience bought this one, so it makes sense. That one is also going to be discontinued. This Crosstrek has the analog gauge cluster, but for 2026, the hybrid trim line, so the Sport Hybrid and the Limited Hybrid, are going to have a digital gauge cluster. And although I don't have a 2026 Crosstrek Hybrid to show you the digital gauge cluster right now, here's a 2025 Subaru Forester Hybrid that has what appears to be a very similar digital gauge cluster to what we should see on the Crosstrek Hybrid. This digital display is a nice addition because no longer will you have to rely on your nav and the center display. Instead, you can have it front and center on your gauge cluster. Another new feature that is going to be exclusive to the Limited Hybrid in the optional package is going to be a surround view monitor. What's cool about the surround view monitor is that it gives you the ability to see a bird's eye view of your vehicle when you're trying to park. So think about when you're parallel parking or trying to pull in or out of your garage or parking spaces. This can be really helpful to show you where you're at, kind of your spatial awareness, so you're not running into things. Now, as I mentioned before, I don't have a Crosstrek Hybrid 2026 to be able to showcase the surround view monitor, but here is a 2025 Subaru Forester Touring that has a surround view monitor, and I imagine is going to look very similar to this. Standard on the Limited and the Limited Hybrid is something called your Eyesight Assist Monitor. So this works in conjunction with your Subaru's Eyesight cameras. If you're unfamiliar, these cameras act sort of as an extra set of eyes looking out of the road ahead to help you avoid collision, for automatic braking, slowing the vehicle down, and your lane centering and lane keep assist. So what those Eyesight lights do, it's sort of like a heads up display, but instead of showing speed, it will show you a red, yellow, or green light up on the windshield. Now, this will work if it'll light up yellow if you are leaving your lane. It will light up red if there is an obstacle out ahead and the emergency braking is being applied, and it'll be lit up green when your adaptive cruise control is set and active. This has for many years been on the Outback and the Legacy, but has not yet been introduced to the Crosstrek until now. Subaru has simplified the trim level offerings for 2026. So if you are going to be ordering one, something to be aware of with the Sport and the Limited trim level is there are no longer these sub trim level optional packages. So previously you could get a Limited and option it with a moonroof, the Harman Kardon audio, and even the onboard TomTom navigation. For 2026, they no longer have the optional packages. And for example, on this 2026 Subaru Crosstrek Limited, it is a standard model. There are no sub trim packages. It does not have the Harman Kardon audio. It does not have the power moonroof, and it does not have the onboard TomTom navigation, which really most people are going to use your Apple CarPlay Android Auto for Google Maps anyways, so that's probably not going to be missed. If you want that power moonroof, the upgraded Harman Kardon audio, and the onboard TomTom navigation, you'll have to bump up to the Hybrid Limited trim to get those items. Overall, I'm really impressed with this 2026 Subaru Crosstrek, and especially with the addition of the hybrid trim line. I know a lot of people are really excited to see that brought back in the non-plug-in hybrid version, giving us both more fuel efficiency and more range while keeping the same things that Subaru is known for, like their safety and their symmetrical all-wheel drive system. If you enjoyed this video and found value in it, please remember to click the like button. Hope you have a great rest of your day. If you have any questions on your Subaru or the 2026 Subaru Crosstrek, reach out to me down below here at Bachman Subaru. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you all in the next one.